It's not going to fall off, but it just feels like it's going to fall off. Welcome back to another video. Today I have been sent out a machine by YILONG. This is the F6. They've sent it out to me to do a review of it and see what I think of it. This is a 3.5mm stroke machine and it costs about $200 Australian. So we're going to see if it can compare to the more expensive machines out there. With that being said, let's just get straight into it. Alright, let's start with what's actually inside the box. So it comes nicely packaged with the machine itself and 2 extra batteries, which is awesome. This machine comes with literally 3 buttons, the on and off button and the up and down button to change the volts, and that's it, which is nice and simple. This machine also reads in hertz as well as volts, and then it also comes with a USB-C charger. You're probably going to hear my baby talking a little bit throughout this. She decided she wanted to help with the audio part. But yeah, that's the machine. It looks pretty cool. It's got a nice weight to it. And this is what we're tattooing today. We're going to be doing it on my client's inner thigh. That's the machine all wrapped up. Alright, about to get started now. So the first thing I did notice initially was that you do have to have quite a bit of needle hang, because if you're someone that likes to essentially ride the tube, it's going to be a little bit difficult, because when you adjust your grip to that length, the grip itself feels really loose. It doesn't seem like it's going to fall off, but it definitely does feel loose. But punching through the line work itself here, and I gotta say, this thing lines very well. I'm used to running a 4.2 stroke machine, so this one being a 3.5, it actually hits pretty hard. Okay, so now that we've started shading, the one thing I've sort of noticed, it definitely takes a little bit longer to actually pack the ink in. Because I like to use more of an opaque method, I tend to do an in-between packing and almost like a grey wash method. So with this machine, you have to run it more as if you were doing a grey wash. So if you're doing more of like a stippling motion, this machine is really good for working up those values. But for me, because I like to use opaques, I like it to pack in a little bit harder, which is why I would probably recommend more of a 4.2mm stroke. So as I was just talking about this machine not being able to pack very well, this thing actually does pack black really well. you sort of have to adjust your hand speed and maybe move a little bit slower than you usually would, or that I usually would, but it actually does pack black really well. So for this area, I'm using my 9-round shader, and instead of doing it like a packing motion, I'm doing a bit more of like a almost stippling, sort of just brushing it in there. And this technique actually works really well here. I think this machine would actually suit someone that specializes in more stippling, sort of fine line work. Being a 3.5mm stroke, it has a little bit more give than something a bit stronger, so I think that would help a lot when it comes to stippling. This part of the feathers was probably like one of my favorite areas to actually shade in, where I could get it nice and soft. Because of the light source, this area is really soft. So I could just sort of brush it all in there. And it actually was working really well. As you can see in this area, being on the inner thigh, it was getting a little bit welted and staying quite red. But this machine was handling the area pretty well. This area, I have switched over my machines to my everyday machine, which is again a 4.2mm stroke. which is fully adjustable. I just like to run it on 4.2 and my volts on 7. So I just wanted to use this just to compare the both machines. I wanted to see if the YILONG F6 was causing more trauma to the skin or if it was just the area of skin. Because like I said, it was getting pretty welty and red. So yeah, I just wanted to break this out and see, just so we could compare it. And so far I'm noticing that the areas that I have used my everyday machine, it is quite red, but everything is settling down a little bit more than the F6. I do have to say though, when it comes to the line work, the YILONG definitely takes the cake. I find even though my machine is 4.2, it's actually taking a bit longer to line in this area. So yeah, as I was saying, the YILONG machine, using that, it is leaving the skin a bit more irritated, but it's not by much. Both machines are getting just as irritated, just as welty. It's just the my everyday machine is just settling down a little bit quicker. Now we're moving into the white highlights. So first of all, I'm trying the YILONG to see how that goes, and so far it is working really well. It packs the ink in there really quickly and actually doesn't traumatize the skin too much. Now I've switched back to my everyday machine to see how that compares. The difference is the white is a lot stronger with this machine, but not by much. Now that we're almost finished, I'm going to go ahead and give it all a good clean down and show you what it looks like, and then I'll give my brief overview of this machine. Okay, so now that we're all finished tattooing, just wanted to give a quick little brief summary of what I thought of this machine. For grey wash, soft black and grey, I think this is a really good machine. It actually hits really hard for line work as well, so I would recommend this machine. It's just for my sort of style that I like to do, which is sort of an in-between packing opaques and grey wash. I just found it was a little bit harder, but it also took a little bit longer to get the tones that I wanted. I was just finding that it irritated the skin a lot more than my everyday machine usually does. A couple of things that I found throughout using this machine as well is that every time I would place it down and have a quick little 5-minute stretch or whatever, the battery turns off instead of just going into like a quick little power saver mode. So every time you get up for a stretch and come back, you have to sort of switch it back on. The adjustable grip, if you're someone that likes to run your needle pretty much with the tube, with the tip, sorry, you're gonna find that a bit harder. You almost have to have a little bit more needle hang, just because when you loosen it to get it to that depth, it ends up very wobbly. It's not gonna fall off, but it just feels like it's gonna fall off. I keep looking over here even though the lens is over here. My apologies. A couple things with irritation that wasn't settling down as quickly as my other machines. Same thing with the swelling, it was causing a lot of welting. Another thing I was finding, just because it's a 3.5mm stroke, it just takes that little bit longer Whereas my daily, which is a 4.2mm stroke, I can move a little bit quicker. So this one was just slowing me down a little bit more. Not that that's a bad thing, it's just, yeah, you can move a little bit quicker with a higher stroke. I did end up switching about halfway to my Amala, just so I can sort of compare the differences. And what I was finding that the Amala does settle down a lot quicker on the skin. However, this one actually does settle in really well. I found that my client's skin as well was getting very irritated with both machines. I found this machine actually punched in really well. It was more the skin that I was working with. It was a bit of a trickier area to pack in. So I think both machines caused a bit more irritation. My other machine was settling down a lot more towards the end of it, but only by a little bit more. Like, it was still pretty welted, etc. So yeah, some good things is it hits really well. It's great for line work. It's great for smooth blends. I haven't really tried to use it with color packing yet, so obviously I don't know how well it's going to color pack, but I think it's a good machine. I like how it clicks. The adjustable grip clicks. Some machines you won't hear it click, it just spins. I don't know, I just prefer to hear the click, which is a weird thing to like. Battery wise, I was using it for a few hours. I want to say at least 3 or 4 hours all up, and it's only dropped down 2 bars and it's still got 3 bars left. In terms of battery life, I think it's really good. Plus you get the extra battery with it, so that's a bonus. Figuring out the right voltage with the skin as well is something that I would have to use more to find out how well it works. Just because I ran it all the way from 5.5 to, I think at one point I put it up to 9 volts just to see how it would work and react with the skin. I found that using it on around 6 volts, which is, around 7 volts, which is what I usually run my everyday machine, I just found that it was causing, not trauma, but the skin was going red before it was sort of packing the tone in there. So that would be, yeah, one of the only downsides to it. Another thing I found with doing the highlights at the end, this machine was actually really good at putting highlights in, because it was putting it directly in the skin. It wasn't getting super irritated. It bled a little bit, but then it calmed right down. Whereas my everyday machine, it bleeds it for a little bit longer, but then it settles down after a while. So I would give this one props on that it settles down pretty quickly. I would be keen to try it on another part of the body just so I can gauge how well it works. But yeah, overall, I'm very happy with the machine. So thanks so much to YILONG for sending it out. And I will definitely keep using it. If you're in the market for a machine, but you don't want to spend a whole lot of money, I would definitely recommend the YILONG F6, which is this one here. If you have any questions or anything, let me know in the comments, because I'm sure that I would have forgotten to mention something. With that being said, I will see you in the next one. Peace.